You can be your own therapist, but honestly, I wouldn't recommend it, because that shit was hard to understand at first. That shit was hard to understand at first, because you have so many thoughts that you just put in the back of your mind and you just don't think about, that just comes up. And it's like you remember the episode of SpongeBob where I forgot who, I think it was SpongeBob, and it was like all these he was in his mind and all these letters were just racing across the board. And he was trying to like sort them out, and he was like, burn everything. That's what it feel like. That's what it feel like when you start unlocking your mind and all them shits. It's hard to filter out your thoughts. That's why some people can't sit idle and just chill. They always got to do something. Like when they talk about the pandemic, right? They talking about the pandemic was the pandemic caused. It's like a height of mental illness now because of the pandemic. And nah, it's not because of that. It's not because of that. It's because people sat the fuck home and had to deal with their thoughts, and that shit came out. All that going outside and going on trips, you think people happy, they not. That shit is a distraction. Distraction like a motherfucker. Them thoughts will come up, and a lot of people don't know how to filter them. They don't know how to decipher them. They don't know what's going on. They don't want to think about it. Sometimes that's needed. You gotta deal with that shit. My boy was the same way. This nigga, well, he's not my boy anymore, but you know, he'll do drugs. He'll do drugs. Sometimes he'll drink, and it's like, yo, like you gotta deal with this shit. Like, what the? It's better to deal with it than to keep getting fucking intoxicated, because it's not gonna stop. It's still gonna keep coming back. Part of the main reason why I think like this is because I see what my mom went through. My mom had a breakdown, and I seen that shit firsthand. I was like, how the fuck she go through that and just completely do a 180? Shit was nuts. Another thing about, well, I kind of mentioned this already, taking drugs, like your body gets used to that shit. Everything is, I wouldn't say everything. Most things is developed because of habit. If you have a habit of taking something to deal with something, then eventually that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna have to keep taking shit to deal with shit. Oh, there's another thing. I don't know whether it's because I'm getting older, but every week I'll have like a checklist of shit I give a fuck about. But then every week it'll get smaller and smaller. It'll be a big ass list, and just be like, you know what? I don't give a fuck about that. 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 You know, if I don't have my headphones on, I just keep thinking. I just be like, you know what? I don't really give a fuck about that. Why do I give a fuck about that? That don't matter to me. That's one of the reasons why I don't want to do shrooms. I'm gonna end up being a fucking hermit. I'm gonna be off in the woods some fucking weird.